IshowSpeed spent an estimated $2 million on its audacious 20-country tour of Africa. Think about it. 400,000 on the luxurious Bombardier Challenger 650 private jet, another $250,000 on helicopters, five-star hotels, four-wheel drives, as well as police escorts, another 200,000 on the video production that was streamed, another 250,000 on the coordination of the event that was shown on the video stream, and you have yourself over $1 million already. When you add up other logistical costs that was incurred in this tour, you realize that the price tag of $2 million is even a low estimate I am giving you. I'll break down further this estimate and how I came to them on this channel. My name is Nenebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, I talk about trade from the perspective of an African. And so if you like intellectual breakdown of stats and facts, subscribe to this channel. Now, let's get into it. So, when IshowSpeed arrived in Ghana, he was lodging at a hotel called Moving Peak Accra. That is a five-star hotel that charges between $200 to $500 a night. And IshowSpeed was traveling with about 9 people, which means that it's more than one room that he needed for this 24 hours that he was in Ghana. Remember, he was in Ghana for 24 hours and only 5 hours of those was streamed. So a lot of things had to happen within those 24 hours for you to see the 5 hours you streamed or you saw on your stream, right? Some of the things that happened apart from the hotel was he had to move from the hotel to a place called Cinema Falls to start the stream. The waterfall with the ladies around him hitting mango. Yeah, that waterfall is about 29 miles from his hotel. And let me say this, Accra is one of the biggest cities in Africa with about 8 million population. So even though it's supposed to be a 30-minute drive from his hotel to a Cinema 4, traffic would have made that trip about 3 hours. I have been in a Cinema 4 before. I have driven from Accra to a Cinema 4 before. Traffic on a weekday to that place over 3 hours. So in order for IshowSpeed to get there on time, he had to get 2 helicopters so that he can get there in less than 15 minutes to start the stream. And even with that, the stream from Ghana delayed for 2 hours because of other logistical issues. So he needed helicopters for his trip within the countries. The private jet, the Bombardier Challenger 650 I talked about, he used those to travel from the US to his first country. He went to Angola, and from Angola to another country, and all the countries he traveled to, he used a private jet. But once he is in the country, he needed helicopters to travel within those countries because not all the venues that he went to are equipped to have a private jet landing over there. The private jet only travels within airports, helicopters within the countries. You understand? So those are 2 different expenses. And now, so wherever he would land the helicopter at, he had to use cars to move from the helicopter landing to the waterfall. And those 4-wheel drives had police escorts to make it easier for him to move around. So you understand how the expense is crewing up. And now, the naming ceremony, it had to be planned in advance. So somebody would have to tell the chief and people of Ekropon that there is this streamer from the US who wants to come and see your town. And we want to put together a beautiful ceremony to welcome him. And then that person is an event coordinator. I believe he worked with Maisa, who is an event coordinator in Ghana. in Kenya and other countries. He worked with different event coordinators. So the event coordinator is doing a job. You have to pay that person. You understand? So that already is some cost that's going up thousands of dollars already before he even say welcome to my stream or whatever. You understand? And so the ladies there, they are models. They have to be paid. So these are costs that you have to think about when you're thinking about how he got to $2 million. I saw somebody in my comments saying, I didn't see anything on the stream that is worth $2 million. Hotels, there are five-star hotels in Africa. And IShowSpeed was lodging in five-star hotels. I already mentioned one. In different countries, he lodged in different five-star hotels, some of which are more expensive than the $500 moving pick Accra charges. You understand? So boom, there is that. Boom. This is a 28-day production. IShowSpeed's crew of about 6 cameramen had to travel from the US to go with him to these countries. And this, under Hollywood, apart from paying them their hourly rate or contract fee, whatever, you are supposed to also pay their per diem. Sometimes they'll charge you like $50. A lot of it's standard in Hollywood to charge somebody or pay $50 per diem a day based on the fact that they are leaving their home country to go with you. You understand? So when you put this small $50 that he's putting together, that is also production costs. The cameras, somebody have to put them in the private jet and then load them from the private jet to the helicopter, load them from the helicopter to the cars. All these are money. You understand? And now, when he finished the naming ceremony at a Cinema 4 and Ekropon, he had to get on the helicopter back to Accra, Independence Square or Black Star Square, where he did the flipping on the Black Star Square and then flipping into the Jollof. Yeah, somebody had to coordinate that event as well. That is also money. You understand? So everything that he did involved spending money to ensure that it went seamless. Because remember, streams, these streams in particular, are almost equal to a TV live production. Not almost equal. It is a TV live production. And TV live production has to have coordinated efforts come together to ensure that whatever you are seeing on your screen seems seamless. You don't have to think, of course, when you are watching TV, but cost is incurred to put those together. Now, remember that IShowSpeed in his last day of streaming was in Namibia, and he said Ghana was originally his intended last country, but he ended up ending in Namibia because of something that happened. He couldn't get permits to land his helicopter, his private jet in Namibia. So he had to take some time and then get the permit sorted. What did that tell you? Every single of the 20 countries he went to, he had to get permits to land his private jet. You cannot just take your private jet from the US and land it in somebody's country. You have to get permit. That is cost. He had to get visas for himself and his crew for all the 20 countries. Or at least find out if those countries will let him come in without needing a visa. That is also cost. And a lot of things people don't know is IShowSpeed worked, apart from his America crew that he worked with, he worked with local crew in all those countries, all the 20 countries. And to coordinate with those 20 countries, he needed to work with an African event coordinator. So he hired Ghanaian event coordinators to move from Ghana to all the 20 countries he went to ahead of time to get local vendors and event coordinators to put together everything you are seeing. Because IshowSpeed is not from Kenya. He doesn't know where the safari is at Kenya. Somebody has to take him there. IshowSpeed is not from South Africa. Somebody has to put together the event at South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, everything. Somebody has to put those together. So the IshowSpeed team in the US contacted a Ghanaian team, and the Ghanaian team now went to all these 20 countries to find event coordinators to put all those things together. And so all those things are cost. Event tours and streaming requires coordination and logistics. And so the $2 million I estimated is based on my understanding on how events work, and also conversations I've had with people who specifically worked in Ghana on this coordination. The reason why I say Ghana is I am from Ghana, right? And I used to work in entertainment in Ghana. So I know people. That's how I'm able to get the specific details from Ghana. Other countries, I can't get the specific details. So I inferred based on the details from Ghana for all those countries. And I was mindful of the fact that Ghana is one of the most expensive countries in Africa. I don't like that, but it is. I'm from Ghana. I don't like the fact that it's so expensive living in Ghana. But even though Ghana is one of the most expensive countries in Africa, I can estimate what the cost is going to be in all those countries based on the estimate in Ghana against the estimate in those countries. You understand? I've been to other countries in Africa as well, so I know, what is involved to, live and move around in those countries. So my number of $2 million, even though it's an estimate, it is an informed estimate. That's what I wanted to express on this particular video. And then when I said IShowSpeed made about $5 million from the stream, you need to understand that I gave a low estimate of $1 million from what was the name? YouTube. IshowSpeed also streams on Twitch. IshowSpeed also streams on other platforms, right? And all this are money that are coming to him based on the production he did for 28 days in Africa. You understand? So my estimate of $5 million is based not just on YouTube money, but Twitch and other platforms as well. You understand? And it is big money. It is over 100% profit of how much he spent to put it together. So that is why I was saying that I would have loved to see more American superstars do tours of Africa. And I specifically said tours, even though I know that American superstars do concerts and visits in Africa, not tours. I'm from Ghana. Ray Cross have been to Ghana. I have worked on an event that Ray Cross attended. Every American celebrity you can think about, especially the African American ones, about 50% of them have visited Africa, specific countries in Africa, especially musicians, right? None of them have done any tour of Africa since the 90s. Since Whitney Houston did a 3-city tour of South Africa, none of them have done it. I mentioned Jay-Z, but Jay-Z's is quite different because of the fact that he was doing it as a UN project. You understand? That is what I wanted to highlight in my video about his private jet.